When you want a partner, not a spouse, navigating romance, according to Christian principles at 70, can feel like a path without a map. Have you ever caught yourself wondering if it is wrong to desire only good companionship, without the intention of signing papers or merging routines and assets? The Bible has a beautiful and deeply comforting answer for this season of your life, though it may not be what you expect. Stay with me until the end, because what God reveals about love in old age will completely change the way you see your future. Is the desire to have someone by your side after a certain age a lack of faith, or just our humanity crying out for connection? Often, as we pass 70, we look around and realize that the silence of the house has become a loud neighbor. Perhaps you lived a long and blessed marriage that grief cut short. Or maybe you carry the scars of a painful divorce that took years to heal. The children grew up, built their own families, and today have fast-paced routines. You feel proud of them, of course, but when night falls and the lights go out, the truth remains. Loneliness does not choose an age, and having faith in God does not cancel out our need for human warmth. Many mature Christians feel deeply guilty for feeling this emptiness, thinking they should only be focused on spiritual things. But the Creator Himself understands this pain. In Genesis 2 verse 18, He declared, "It is not good that the man should be alone." God did not say this only for young people who are about to start a family. He established a truth about the human soul. We were designed for fellowship. However, at 70, your heart no longer seeks the traditional package of a marriage. You don't want to go through the bureaucracy of a merger of assets, the reorganization of inheritances, or changing the routine that took you decades to stabilize. You are not looking for a spouse to manage a home. You are looking for a partner to share life with, someone to have an afternoon coffee with in the calm of your living room, to walk in the park, and to pray with on difficult days. Why is it that the church environment sometimes makes it seem like there are only two options? Either you remarry in the traditional way, or you accept loneliness forever. Does God really demand that you give up companionship just because conventional structures no longer fit your current reality? As we move forward, you will realize that the Father's care goes far beyond the rules that men created for love. The truth is that God has not forgotten you in your maturity, and His love manifests itself in ways that our culture often fails to understand. When we look at the Scriptures, we discover that human relationships go far beyond the legal obligations of a marriage contract. They are, at their essence, a covenant of mutual care. There is a beautiful text in Ecclesiastes 4 verse 9 and 10 that tells us, "Two are better than one. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up." Notice the word the Bible uses, fellow companion. God validates the value of having someone to hold our hand when our legs fail, or when discouragement knocks at the door. At 70, you have every right to protect the history you built. You spent an entire life accumulating memories, taking care of assets, and establishing precious habits within your home. Wanting a partner and not a spouse is, often, an act of wisdom and respect for yourself and your children. It means you recognize the value of affection, but choose not to bring the weight of financial and family complications into this new story. There is no sin in desiring a romance that brings peace instead of worry. God desires your peace. He desires for you to be able to enjoy a sincere smile at Sunday lunch, a loving phone call at the end of the day, and someone who truly understands your silences. You do not need to isolate yourself from the world just to fit the expectations of the people around you. Love in old age is free from sterile demands. It is the pure reflection of grace that allows us to start over, no matter how many pages of the calendar have already passed. If this message is finding a place in your heart today and bringing a relief you needed to feel, leave your amen down below in the comments. Like this video if it spoke to your soul. This helps our word reach other hearts that are also feeling lonely and misunderstood right now. But How can we live this partnership without giving up holiness and Christian testimony? Let's find out now how to design this path with clarity and respect. How, then, can we build this relationship of partnership without giving up the values that sustained our faith for a lifetime? The answer begins with a word that seems simple but requires a lot of courage: clarity. For a romance at 70 to work according to Christian principles, the first coffee and the first conversation need to be bathed in the purest honesty. You need to look into each other's eyes and say, "I am looking for someone to walk by my side, to share faith and life, but I do not intend to marry again." When intentions are made clear from the beginning, we honor God and protect each other's hearts. The Bible teaches us in Proverbs 4, verse 23, "Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life." Guarding the heart at this stage means not creating false expectations and not allowing the other to create illusions about a format of life you do not wish to live. If sleepless nights bring doubts, focusing the spirit on reading the Word is the best medicine. To help you read comfortably and calm your mind in the dark, I left a wonderful resource in the first link of the description. It is a perfect support to bless your devotional and prayer time. Be sure to check it out. After all, it is precisely in this atmosphere of intimacy with God that we understand the value of protecting our peace. By deciding that each will keep their own home, their independence, and their routines, we take away the weight of demands and make room for what truly matters: genuine affection. The holiness of a relationship like this is not measured by a signed paper, but by the purity of mutual respect, by decency, and by the testimony you give together before the Father. It is perfectly possible to live a mature romance where the main focus is to edify each other's lives without giving place to the flesh, but glorifying God through a care that the world can barely understand. But what, after all, is the true spiritual purpose of walking like this, side by side, in this season of life? That is what we are going to reflect on now. When we choose the path of having a partner and not a spouse, we need to understand what the real purpose of this bond is at 70. In youth, relationships are often built around haste. The haste to marry, to build assets, to raise children, and to handle the demands of the world. But in maturity, God grants us the privilege of time and calm. The focus of a partnership at this stage is not what you can build outwardly, but what you can edify inwardly. The Bible gives us a beautiful direction in Romans 14, verse 19. "Let us therefore follow after the things which make for peace, and things wherewith one may edify another." This is exactly what a romance, according to Christian principles, represents in old age: a voluntary commitment to do good to the other, without the weight of institutional demands. Living this love means understanding that transparency must be the oxygen of the relationship. Since routines will not merge and each will keep their own space, trust needs to be unshakable. It is not about giving explanations out of obligation, but about sharing life out of pleasure. It is the care of calling to know if the other is well. It is the sensitivity to listen to a venting session without haste, and the joy of having someone to divide your deepest thoughts with. Often, the human need for affection is confused with neediness, but for God, it is legitimate. He made us relational beings from the beginning to the end of our earthly journey. Having a walking partner at 70 is discovering that love in maturity can be incredibly light. It is a love that does not bind, does not demand, and does not suffocate. It simply supports, accompanies, and beautifies the days the Lord gives us. It is the certainty that, even when the body grows tired, the soul remains young and perfectly capable of sharing a pure, sincere, and meaningful affection. But how do we balance this freedom and this lightness with the holiness that our heart prizes so much? How do we keep the flame of affection alive without crossing the boundaries that guard our communion with God? Keep in mind that living a partnership based on Christian principles at 70 does not mean canceling holiness, but rather expressing it in a mature and conscious way. When the Bible exhorts us in 1 Thessalonians 4, verse 7, saying that God hath not called us unto uncleanness, but unto holiness. It is reminding us that our body and our affections belong to the Lord at any age. In maturity, holiness gains a contour of deep dignity. Since you chose independent paths, without the fusion of a common roof, the purity of the relationship becomes a daily choice of honor. You are not together out of financial dependence or social convenience. You are together because you chose to bless each other's lives. And this gentle and well-resolved choice is what protects your hearts from any stumbling. Holiness at this stage of life manifests itself in respecting each other's boundaries. It means understanding that dating and companionship have a sacred space of affection, but that the intimacy of each other's home continues to be preserved. Can you travel together to contemplate the beauties of God's creation? Absolutely. Can you spend the day holding hands, sharing meals, and long conversations? Of course you can. The secret lies in keeping transparency and prayer as the foundation of everything. When two mature people pray together before making decisions, the Holy Spirit brings the necessary discernment so that affection never loses the fragrance of decency. This balance brings a freedom that youth rarely gets to experience. It is the freedom to love without the anxiety of trying to prove something to the world or to yourself. You already know who you are in God. Now, you are just allowing the sweetness of the Father to sweeten the days that are yet to come. You walk with your head held high, because you know that the motivation of your heart is mutual care. And care is one of the most beautiful fruits of Christian love. But how do we shield this relationship against our own internal doubts and against anxiety regarding the future? Let's seal this reflection now. Sometimes, even when we find this partnership that is so beautiful and aligned with the heart of God, the mind insists on asking difficult questions about tomorrow. You may catch yourself thinking, what if health fails? What if time is short? How will the future be if we are not married on paper? It is natural that maturity brings us a sharper awareness of the fragility of life. However, the fear of tomorrow cannot steal the blessing of today. Jesus left us a precious teaching in Matthew 6, verse 34. Take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. If the Lord has provided a generous heart to walk by your side at this exact moment, receive this companionship as a gift from heaven for your present, without trying to decipher every step of the coming years. Walking with a partner at 70 is exercising a gentle faith, which celebrates the value of each shared day. It is understanding that you do not need human guarantees or rigid contracts to ensure loyalty. Your loyalty is established in mutual respect and love for God. If health falters on one side, the role of the Christian partner is to be an intercessor, an extended arm, a comforting presence, within the limits of what affection allows, without the institutional weights that often generate resentment. You are free to take care of each other for the simple pleasure of loving. Allow yourself to live this season with lightness. Old age in the presence of the Lord is not the end of the story. It is the moment where we harvest wisdom and give ourselves the right to live a pure, mature, and unhurried affection. You are exactly where you should be, guarded by the Father's love and ready to finish this earthly walk with a warmed heart. Navigating romance at 70, desiring a partner and not a spouse, is not diminishing God's plans. It is, in fact, understanding the beauty and freedom of the season you are living. He has not forgotten you at this stage of the journey. Always remember that, even in old age, God still writes beautiful, light chapters full of purpose for your life. If this word brought peace to your soul and untied knots that tightened your chest, leave your comment down below telling me what God spoke to your heart today. Share this video and subscribe to Ageless Souls so we can continue walking together. May the Lord richly bless your days.